Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Entrepreneurs Podcast for Business Boost Academy. I'm really excited today to have with you a friend of mine who I've met through networking, like a lot of these things, Daniel Fisher, who is the MD of Pagio and Pagio Website Builder. Dan, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, and thanks for having me on, of course.
You're absolutely welcome, my friend. So Dan's actually speaking to us from Vietnam at the moment, and we'll get on to why Dan is in Vietnam. But he's living the dream, living the life. So we'll explain that as we go through. But Dan, give us a bit of background. So obviously, Pageo is a marketing business, and the website builder is all about building websites and everything else. But give us a bit of background. How did you get to where you got to?
Yeah, how far back should I go?
As long as you're
So
not in short trousers, that's all that matters.
no, that's it. Yeah, so I would say it started to where we are now. When I left university, I did a marketing degree at university, so I was always in this kind of industry. I went to work at Blackburn Rovers Football Club, so I was a data analyst there first. Then I went into oil and gas in a decommissioning company doing marketing. But what I quickly found was that there was a lot of marketing agencies out there that weren't very good.
Hmm.
They didn't deliver what they said they would deliver. So I got to the point where um, I just won a big contract for the company because they told us social media wouldn't work. And I met a contact through social media that got them into a company they've been trying to get into for 20 years in America.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So they did won a contract that was just under £500,000 contract as the first order. So I, of course, was like, oh, I think I deserve a pay rise. Um, and I didn't get a pay rise. I basically got told I wasn't worth the pay rise. So I was like, oh, actually. So I flew back a day early from a holiday to basically put my notice in because I knew the director was going to Florida for 3 weeks. So I went in, handed my notice in, and he was like, "What are you going to do?" I was like, "I actually don't know. I just know I need to quit. I'm going to run my own business. I've always thought of it, so I will." So over the next month, I taught myself how to build a website and WordPress because I had the marketing skills. I knew about SEO, I knew about social media, email marketing, all the other bits. And this was 2012.
Right.
So again, it wasn't massively hugely popular and stuff like SEO was dead easy then. Like it was
Mhm.
so easy. So I literally went home, taught myself how to build a website in my spare time during that month. And then I started running a marketing agency. I then, one of my good friends was head of SEO and web at a Manchester agency. So at the time, I was in Preston in Lancashire because that's where I went to university and just ended up staying there. So I spoke to him, and that was early 2014. I was like, "Look, I'm growing the agency now. Um, I want you to come and take over the website part." So he come over, started taking over. So then we started doing websites and marketing. Then over time, we started removing the marketing side because our focus was websites. But we always wanted our own product. And for years we debated doing different things. But what we kept seeing was small businesses having issues with websites, and mainly it was because, well, there's two really. They're on a WordPress website and they don't know how to maintain it. So contact forms break, the hosting something goes down, the SSL certificate's not there, it shows it's not secure, and they don't know how to edit it themselves. Small business owners don't need that hassle.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is that they're building their own website on website builders and they look terrible.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them because not if you're someone like you're an HR advisor, you're really good at what you do, amazing. You're not good at building websites because that's not your forte. So we looked at that and be like, right, what can we do? So we decided to build our own website builder. So we spent
Hmm.
2 years building our own website builder. And then in March 2020, just as Boris told us we had to stay indoors, we launched Pagio. And our
Hmm.
focus is to help small businesses get online and succeed. Um, from there, we launched as a website builder only. But as you know, our service now is one that's unique and no other website builder in the world does it. Where if you sign up to our hosting, we'll build 5 pages for you for free.
Hmm.
And that's because we know you get better results. It means you'll stay with us for longer. So it's a win-win situation. So we've done that since 2022 and it's just been absolutely flying. So
Yeah.
here we are in 2026. as a fast-growing website building platform for UK businesses.
So how many people have you got working for you now?
There's six of us.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Are they you mainly UK based, or are they like you? Are they sort of like digital nomads all over the world?
Yes, so we're a mix. So we're all from the UK.
Yeah.
So we're all English because for us, one of the most important things is making sure we have native speakers who speak to our customers because
Hmm.
that's one frustrating thing when someone's trying to communicate. So we're all from the UK. So three of them are permanently in the UK. They've got families and stay there. Two of us permanently move around. Well, say move around. I spend most of the year in Asia, one of the other lads moves around Europe and Asia, and then one person permanently lives overseas as well, but in one location. So we're just a bit
Right,
of a
okay.
mix. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you find that works managing a team that's around the world? Is I suppose in some respects it doesn't matter if they're in different offices in the UK, but how do you manage it?
Exactly that. So it doesn't matter if you're in a different country because we have two rules and fast internet, UK time zones. That's all we do. So no matter where you're on the world, you work UK hours. It's flexible an hour here or there, but
Yeah.
UK hours, fast internet, that's the only rules we have because all our customers in the UK, we need to service UK businesses. We
Yeah.
can't just work, if you're in Asia, you can't just work in the morning to the afternoon and then England is starting the working hours and you're going. It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. So it's just a bit of discipline, but all the staff know that and are happy.
Yeah. I think it's a really I think it's a really great way of working because obviously what you're doing is you're giving people the opportunity to see a bit of the world if they want to see a bit of the world. And actually, because you work in the digital space anyway, it doesn't really matter. And I think we're so used now to uh, talking to people on a screen or talking to people doing this kind of thing. It doesn't really make a great deal of difference. And as long as you, like you say, you've got those rules in place and people respect those rules, then that
Yeah,
works. Yeah.
exactly. And again, it's about employing the right people. But that's the thing with us is that because we're not an agency anymore, we're the website building platform. No one needs to come into our office. We don't need to go into their office. You don't need to go through loads of different processes, sit down, go through stuff. We're a software. You
Hmm.
expect to be able to jump on a call with the software company, be able to get instant access to them. And that's what we do. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter if we're sat in an office in England all together or we're spread around the world.
Yeah. I bet Christmas parties are interesting, aren't they? Everybody on a screen having a beer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. You just send them some money. They're happy.
So how have you found building a team then? Because that's obviously, when with a lot of smaller businesses, when you start building a team, what were you obviously you got your two rules, but what were you looking for in people in terms of you obviously had your mate who you brought on board, but when it came to actually building the team, are there certain things that you look for in the individuals that you bring in? Have you had successes with recruitment or problems with recruitment? How's that worked for you?
We used to. So when we were running an agency, we made a lot of recruitment issues already, problems and stuff like. Sometimes it's because we recruited ourselves and we didn't know quite what we were looking for, or we recruited more on skill at some points than personality.
Hmm.
Um, so for us, obviously, so the way we work, we've got two full-time developers. Obviously, you need the skills there, so that decent developers, but they need to be personal and have good communication. But for the rest of the team as well, it's about personality because so designers, customer service, you've got to be able to communicate and get along. So for us, it's looking for good people who can communicate well,
Yeah.
and some of the skills can be taught.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing as well. Because obviously we work remote, there's got to be trust there as well. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people now, I see it consistently online and everywhere. Oh, how do I get an online job? Da, 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 da. Because someone just wants to think they can go and work from a beach.
Yeah.
Far from it. I seen one. I literally, to be fair, the other day I did walk down past one of the beach bars. Someone was on his laptop, but it's not a reality. You can't go and sit and work at the beach. Number one, it's too hot and you just can't see your screen. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's the issue now is that everyone wants an online job or a remote job so they can go anywhere in the world. So that it's siphon through those ones to get to the real genuine people to be like, right. And for us, as long as you deliver, we're happy.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for us, it's personality because we've made mistakes in the past where we've brought someone in that's very skilled, but that same thing is like one rotten fruit can ruin the rest. Like
Yeah.
they're in a mood, the whole office is in a bit of a moody
Yeah.
atmosphere, and that's probably a good thing about working remote because if you got someone who's up and down a bit moody, you don't spend all day with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true.
Luckily, we've got no one like that now, so it's all good. But if it is, it helps being remote because then you only have to put up with them for half an hour on a call.
Yeah, it's very true. I think as well, when you start to employ people as well, there's a shift in your mindset because all of a sudden you're then responsible for their bills, their mortgage, their family life, all of that sort of thing as well. So
Yeah,
that adds an additional element of pressure to the whole thing. I know from my own personal experience when I've had staff working for me, I found that actually almost as hard as actually managing the people themselves.
yeah. Oh yeah, and the thing is as well, like for yourself, you don't mind because you know for yourself the work you do, you're feeding yourself, you're putting the money on the table and do for your family, etc. And then I said it's that extra stress for other people. But what I also say though is it's not just your responsibility, it's also their responsibility because if they don't perform, they don't have a job. And
Yeah.
that's the nicest way I could say it. Like all our guys are great, whatever else, but you've got to realize that if you're not performing or going to the levels that you should be performing at or paying the attention, etc., you won't have a job. So it's not it's both sides. You've got to make
Yeah.
sure that everything's coming in so they can keep the job and sustainable, the business is growing, but they've also got to perform to make sure they actually have a role.
Hmm.
And that's what I think sometimes employees do forget. I said,
Yeah.
luckily ours are great. Everyone's brilliant, but sometimes over the years they forget that and it's like you owe them a favor.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that when you went on the recruitment journey, is there anything that you would have liked to have known back then when you started recruiting? Would it be to
Good for
base it more personality, or would it have
yeah.
been
Do you know what? Yeah, based on my own personality, and probably the first couple of times, I probably would have worked with a recruiter to understand the process better.
okay?
Because
That's
I don't
interesting.
know whether you'll know Sarah Bishop.
Don't know names.
Uh, right, yeah, because she's been in, 15, 16 years, so she's
Right.
old
Okay.
school. But yeah, so what I've learned from her has been invaluable. So her and our sales coaches that we were with for years, because when we were employing a salesperson, they were talking about personality types and the people that you need on certain sales roles. And it made me think, it's like, oh, actually, yeah, you need to look at personality. Because most of the time, even in sales and the other stuff, if there is certain personality type, you can teach the sales or process, whatever else. And same with other stuff. If someone's naturally good at design, but they need a bit of tweaking, I'd employ the person who's got the better personality than the skill because you can train them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish if I went back, it'd be more personality, developing skills, sending them on training, doing training with them, bringing them in. And that's why kind of like, if we're in the UK, we would do a bit more on the apprenticeship side.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's just very difficult being remote doing that because we used to do it and it was great because a lot of the guys we could mold, not mold them in a sense, but they've got a personality there and we could teach them and show them and kind of monkey see, monkey do, copy
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
we do, you'll earn money, you'll have a job for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, so when you think about that side of things, you mentioned obviously BNI, and obviously we've got to know each other through the Only Networking Network.
Yep.
Um, I would say networking has that played a massive part in your business growth and your business journey?
Massively, yeah. So we get most of our work through word of mouth and referrals. Because of what we do, is an easy one to refer on. Because if someone moans about their website, they go and speak to Dan. It's only 19 quid a month, so that's easy. But even over the years when we used to do custom development, networking is amazing because it's about building relationships. Like we've spoken about it before, it's building relationships, but also making it really easy for someone to understand what you do. And
Hmm.
that's where people get networking wrong, or people go networking just to sell, sell, sell. But for me, like we are now, we've built a relationship, and that's what it's about for me. I love helping other businesses, and you'll naturally get helped in return.
Yeah, that's so true. The other thing I found when probably I've been networking really since 2001. So, for me, it was a revelation when I walked into my first networking event. Actually, when I walked into my first networking event, I walked in, took one step in, took one step to the right, took another step to the right, and walked straight out again. It really was. It was a horrendous experience for me. And then I made up some absolutely rubbish excuse to my wife when I got home that, yeah, it was hot, it's sticky, the air conditioning was rubbish today, blah, blah, blah. And she turned around to me and she goes, "Yeah, you bottled it then?" And I went, "Yeah, I did." So I went
Oh,
back the
you
next
know me
month.
then.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I went back the next month and I walked in and there was a guy stood by the door and I didn't realize it at the time, but he had been waiting for me. And he turned around to me, and I was about to do my now signature 180, and he sort of grabbed me when I was halfway through my turn, and said, "Hello, mate, how are you doing?" And that was my introduction to networking. And he said, "I thought you'd come back. I was hoping to see you. Come on, let me introduce you to a few people." And
And
so
that
I'm
hand
that
holding
person
kind of
now.
got you in.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm that person now. If I'm going face to face networking, I look for the person who stood awkwardly in the room with their hands in their pockets, who
Yeah.
doesn't know what they're doing, and I will go up and talk to them and just sort of try and ease them into that situation because it is uncomfortable when you first start. Uh,
You're going into a room full of people that you don't know, something that you've not done before. And
Yeah,
most networking groups are very different as well. So, as you'll know,
yeah,
like BNI is very different from some of the others. So, when you go in there, it can be overwhelming. And if everyone knows each other and you're coming in as a new one, if people like you weren't there to make them come and feel welcome and
yeah,
put some effort into it, it can be a very lonely place where you're like, oh, where do I go? Who do I speak to? Oh, I'm just going to stand there, my hands in my pocket, drinking a brew.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a comfortable situation, but I think with networking, it's an incredibly supportive environment as well. And it's for me, BNI was incredible for me. I'm not in a BNI group now, as I mentioned, because I'm down in Cornwall and we haven't got any down here.
Yeah.
But I know when I was sort of going through tough times with my own business, particularly during COVID, the support that you get from your networking colleagues is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. You
Yeah.
get support and you give support.
There to support. That's what people underestimate, and you'll see it over the years. People leave and then come back to like, oh, actually, I need that support, and
Yeah,
also the self development. A lot you're learning to present in front of a group of people, speak to an audience, and promote your business, and it's great because it gets you to sit down as well. And when you do it properly, you're looking at right. I'm going to networking. What am I going to say about my business? How can I easily explain what I do? Who am I looking to speak to? What do they say to that person? And
mm,
you actually think about it. A lot of small businesses just go out there going, oh, I need customers, da, da, da. But if you sit down and work through all of those things, it helps you as a business, your
yeah,
personal development, and it helps networking. So it helps you everywhere you go if you sit down and work through those things.
yeah, massively. It absolutely does. So going back to when you were you must have been what, 25, 26 when you started out on your own for the first time, probably around that sort of
Good
age.
question. Hold on, I've just turned 38 with 2026, so 40, 24.
24.
Yeah,
Wow.
24. Jeez.
Young
I know
guy.
that sounds young to start. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's young to start, but
But
yeah.
when you walked into because I would assume you found out about networking and you started networking fairly early on. Is
Yeah,
that,
so when
yeah?
when I used to work for the other businesses, I kind of slightly get introduced to it in a way as in like they went to so the offshore company went to exhibitions. It wasn't really networking, but you do a bit of networking. You go to
Yeah.
exhibitions, you go out for food with people, you build relationships, and that works great. So when I first went self-employed and started working freelance doing the marketing services, I was in a like building like co-work slash office space in Preston. So I was in there with loads of other small businesses, and I was B&I just moved in.
Hmm.
So it used to be one of those things where they were like, "Oh, you're on a Tuesday, Wednesday morning." It was on a Wednesday morning. The car park's a bit busy because there's a networking group that doesn't leave till 9:30 or something like that. And I used to go in early, like 7 or whatever else anyway. So I was like, "Oh, networking group. I'll let I've heard it's networking's good. Let me go in." So that was my first introduction to networking. I go in, get invited into networking. As you know, BNI is a one seat policy. They had no one in marketing at the time. They had a web designer who I'm still friends with now, and really nice guy as well, Matt. He's still in that chapter. He's been in
Yeah.
a while. Um, I went in and I took the marketing because I did marketing at the time, but I went in there speaking to a couple of people and I started making contacts then. And again, I still got friends and contacts from that group back then in 2014 that still kind of interact and stuff with now. Some are still customers after all that time. It's just
Mm,
obviously as we move through, etc. But yeah, that was my introduction just because they were in the same building.
mm.
Now,
Yeah, it's
11
fantastic.
years later, it's been one of the best decisions I made in business,
Yeah,
like development wise, but also personally, because you make a lot of friends, a lot of lifelong friends as well for networking, but then also for the business and revenue wise and the things you
yeah,
learn invaluable. Like even little random things that you learn, like I said really well, but I manage all my own investments now. I used to use like IFAs and stuff, but I met a stockbroker and a tax expert in BNI in 2019, and good friends with them still now. I chat to them all the time. Really nice guys. I refer them on whenever I can. But all the stuff that they taught me and we talked about and learned about, just even just sat there chatting, I learned so much then where I manage my own investments now and do really, really well.
yeah,
If I didn't meet them in BNI or speak to them, I'd still be using IFA and still getting good results, but nothing near what I'm doing now. So
yeah.
even random things like that. And I'm a proper numbers nerd. So once I started that rabbit hole of learning about it, I went all in.
Hmm.
But yeah, so little things like that are great.
It's phenomenal. I said to you earlier on, my best mate is I met at a BNI meeting. I was DC of the group. I was starting a group, and I met him for the first time, and he was very dismissive at that particular moment in time. And he's like, yeah, he's a mortgage broker, and he won't mind me saying this because he's a good guy. Apart from the fact he's an Arsenal fan, but we won't go there. But
Well, they're going to bottle it, so we're
they're
all
gonna
right.
bottle it. Yeah, I keep telling him that. But he,
Oh, that was a fun weekend watching Bournemouth win.
it
We,
was.
we both support struggling teams, but in two different struggles. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, well, being a Tottenham fan is no fun anyway. So it was,
I'd rather support Liverpool than Tottenham, but we're still in a bit of a bad one.
um, yeah, Liverpool aren't really that struggling. But anyway, when I met Darren for the first time, he was quite dismissive of it, and yeah, I thought I'd come along and see what this is about and everything else. And I persuaded him to stay, and he's always said he's very glad that he actually listened. And the more I know him, the more difficult I know it is for him to listen to different people. But he was very much like actually it kickstarted his business, and he had a very successful entrepreneurial career before that, but he'd moved into mortgages and everything else, and had just literally started up his own mortgage business, and it's been phenomenal for him. And yeah, and I think that's the thing is networking is it really is about if you've got a personality where you enjoy people's company, networking is the thing that you can learn so much from. And
Yeah,
people are happy to share. People are happy to help you. They want to help you.
exactly. And you know, it's like when you're starting a business, especially if it's just you, or it might even be you and a few members of staff. And if you're the owner and you got some staff, is that there'll be some stuff you don't talk to the staff about as well.
Absolutely.
But being a business owner can be a lonely place.
Yeah.
But also, like you're everything. If you're a one man band, you're everything. You're the sales team. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're on the tools, doing whatever else. And sometimes some of the other bits fall apart. When you go to that networking group, especially BNI only, and there's a lot of others. I only do BNI only. They're the only two
Yeah.
I do. To be honest, they're the only two I have time for, but they're the ones that bring me results, and it's great.
Yeah.
And they're online. It works. Um, but what it turns into is that you're going into that room and you're looking at it and saying, yeah, everyone's going to grow their business. And if you say you're not going there to make money and grow business, you're lying.
Yeah.
Everyone's there to grow their own business. But if you go with the intention of knowing that you're going to help other people as well, it works. But what you realize that when you go into that room and say, for example, the average group's probably 20 odd people, you've then got a team of 20 people who are essentially now your marketing department.
Mhm. Yeah.
You've gone from one person who you might not have many contacts because you might have been employed for years. Like your friend might have been a mortgage advisor for a big company.
Mhm.
He then goes self-employed and then he goes, oh, I've got no contacts. What do I do? You
Mhm.
suddenly go into a room of 20 other business people. If you show them you're a good person, you know what you're doing, you're good at what you're doing, and you want to help them as well, there's 20 people who are going out promoting you. You've
Yeah.
just 20x'd your marketing efforts.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
what people don't understand as well. And again, there's many groups, and BNI gets a bad rep. Oh, they make you pass referrals. Well, what else are you going networking for? You just going solely to sell it? Are you? And we call them hunters, don't we? We say you're just
Mhm.
just a hunter. You're just going out to sell, sell,
Yeah.
sell. For me, I started Pagio to help businesses as well. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're profitable. We're also doing it to make money. I'm not a charity, but we love helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And when that comes across, you get it in return.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you really, really do. I think that, and that's a really valid point that you make there, is you go in to help people and actually acknowledge the fact that you're there to make money yourself, but you are going in to help people. And that's always been my philosophy as well within everything that I do. It's about supporting and helping people. Yes, I want to make money. Yes, I want to keep a roof over my head. Yes, I want to put food on the table. Absolutely. I make no apology for that because that's life. But
Yeah,
actually the thing that gives me a lot of satisfaction is when you get great results for people, or you give a great referral, or whatever. And
yeah.
I've given referrals to people in the past that have changed their life, and
I
it's one of those things.
I'm literally just going to pull one up now. I 2 months ago met this lady at BNI. She's in a different chapter, but she's subbed at our group. And the way she came across, I was like, she knows what she's doing, and she really likes helping people. She does telecoms, but she does a lot of different types of telecoms, like all types of the telecom side, but also like she has a really good offer from HMOs and service accommodation and stuff like that. And I have a contact, an old client of mine that I still do work for now since a BNI referral in 2014. Funnily enough,
Right. Yeah.
I've just realised he came from BNI in 2014. Um, so we've done lots of different stuff from over the years, from websites to his back end software, everything. And he's in that property business. So when she was talking to me about that, saying, "Oh, we love to deal with people with HMOs, etc.," I was like, "Okay." So I had a one-to-one with her, was learning about business, spoke to a couple of the customers and people in BNI she worked with, and she really switched on. I was like, "Oh, do you know what? She could be a really good contact because I know my client was looking for partnerships, so then they can both make money on it." So I've done the introduction, they've done a deal, and they've started working together. And I was just like, "Oh, how are you getting on?" And she's like, "It's flying off the scales with X. My business partner now wants to see how we can refer you because he feels guilty." And she said, "It's the best referral I could have dreamed of."
Wow. That's what you
Now
want, isn't it?
I'm the best person in the world. She's like, "When you come back to the UK next year, I'm taking you out for food. I'm doing this, this, and this. Like
Yeah.
you've absolutely amazing." I was like, "Look, I don't want anything from it. Yeah, I'll accept the meal, but
Yeah.
I'm doing it just to help people. I know you've got a good product. My client's great, and as the target market that you're looking to deal with, you can both make money by servicing someone.
Hmm.
Everyone wins."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's how it works. I think when you do that as well, it just gives you that warm, glowy feeling that you've really helped somebody.
yeah.
Um,
Ah, yeah.
and
When she sent me that through, I was just like smiling, like cheek,
yeah,
like ear to ear. I was just like, "Do you know what? I'm glad."
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And you'll thank you for the business going through the roof.
yeah, that will be, yeah, yeah, yeah. To be fair,
which is
I think
which is always a nice thing to see happen.
yeah, the first thank you the other day was 6,000, so there's going to be
Excellent.
plenty more of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's not
I
too
love
bad.
that. I love that. Um, so when you obviously you were working in the UK, you built the business initially in the UK. What was the inspiration behind the travel side of things for you? What made you think? Did you come to a point in life where you thought, I'm in my mid-30s now, I need to see a bit of the world? What happened?
Yes,
How did that come about?
yeah, cool. So actually, I actually used to travel quite a bit anyway. So I used to go on a lot of holidays, but I always used to take my laptop anyway because
Yeah.
I was one of those people who couldn't switch off for ages. And it's quite funny when I said one of my good friends, the guy, the developer, he used to moan at me and be like, "Go on bloody holiday, don't check your emails," and da da da
Yeah.
da da. He's like, "The team have got it." I was like, "Right, okay." And it took me a while to build that up with confidence and stuff anyway. But so I've been going away a lot. I think like when I was like 29, 30, I think in that one year I did like 10 holidays as well. Like I
Wow.
just went mild. I was like, I'm going to enjoy myself. But it was actually when COVID hit. So probably the only good thing, well, yeah, the only good thing to come out of COVID was that people realized that you could do a call. And I've spoken to lots of people about this, like especially like
Yeah.
mortgage advisors and people who offer those services where you don't have to live 10 minutes from someone to get a good service. But because we were a software, it was a natural transition to being online. It doesn't matter if you're in office or whatever. So during COVID in March, so it's quite funny because it was March 20th, I remember. We'd all packed up the office because we were all going to work from home for a bit. we all put our desks and chairs in the back of the cars, and we were like, right, we'll go to the pub because we were office in the countryside, right next to the M55, I think is the one from Preston to Blackpool. So it's just off there. So we're in a farmland, but there's a pub right next to the motorway just as we go down. So we're like, right, we'll go in there for a drink. And as we got in there and a couple of pints, Boris came on the TV. Was like, we're going into national lockdown for Monday. And we're like, oh, we're going to be inside a bit longer. So we enjoyed a couple of more drinks or whatever else and went home. And so we did that. And then what happened is that we're all working from home. And again, the same thing. It doesn't matter where we are. So the developer guy, Martin, his girlfriend's from Ukraine. So they went over to Ukraine and Poland stuff. He's still working remotely. All works out great. He's then booked a trip to go over to Mexico with his now wife. And then when Boris said, we're going into a second lockdown, and I was like, oh, I can't stay here because it was like October, wasn't it? Like something around
Yeah.
those. So me and our graphic designer, Sam, who's funny enough, Sam's actually here in Vietnam with me now. It was his 30th yesterday, so I took him out for lunch.
Right.
Again, friendships from employment. But yeah, so I messaged him. I was like, Martin's going to Mexico. Do you fancy it? And he was
Right.
like, yeah. So we said to Martin, watch your flights. Da, da, da. We joined him. So we flew from, we had to, the annoying thing was, Sam's based in Blackburn, I was in Preston anyway. So we had to get the train down to London, empty train. We had to stay outside of the airport in London for about 3 hours on a concrete floor waiting to get in. Then got in the airport, which was dead, by France, Mexico. But we met Martin and his now wife in the airport. It was quite random. So we met them in Paris and then flew over to Mexico. So we spent a month in Mexico. The only issue was time zones, 6 hours that way. So I'm doing my BNI 9:30 a.m. BNI call at 3:30 a.m. and dealing with clients. But again, you just shift your sleeping pattern. I was
Yeah.
going to bed at 9 o'clock at night, getting up at 3:30 a.m. And we had a local bar. We stayed in downtown Cancun, not the party bit, downtown. So we stayed with all the locals. We had a local little bar around the corner that was 16p a Corona.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore, but yeah, back then we did. So we had fun. And that introduced us to it. I then did
Yeah.
that. We come back and then went to Barbados, did the same, and then realized that part of the world can wait till I retire because it's tiring.
Yeah.
So then I started doing that. So I started moving around a bit more. And then I was like, right. And then me and my brother booked to come over to Asia. So we did 7 weeks. So my brother's a contractor. So what he did is he booked 3 weeks off work, came out, we did a bit of exploring. We did, to be fair, we did Thailand only then. Well, with him. So I did the 3 weeks with him. He flew back home for 4 weeks. Oh no, so he flew back home for, yeah, 4 weeks. And then he flew back home for another 3 weeks over the Christmas period. So it was not seven, it's 10, isn't it? Yeah. So doing that. So he did that. But whilst I'm there, obviously I'm doing remote work. So I'm realizing, oh, this is not too bad actually, because I'm essentially working a 210 shift. In the morning, I go out, it's sunny. In in England, you wake up, it's dark, you start working, it gets light
Yeah.
outside, you don't really see it. And then by the time you finish it dark, it's just grey all the time, raining. So I'm out there doing in the morning, go for breakfast, going to the gym, doing whatever else, my life admin, whatever you want to do. And then you work it when it's dark. There was something about that I just fell in love with.
Hmm.
So that 7 to 10 week trip turned into 4 months. I ended up going to
Wow.
through Thailand into Indonesia, trekking the jungle to the orangutans and stuff like that. It was
Cool.
incredible. So yeah, yeah. So it was amazing. And then I kind of did that, went to over to Kuala Lumpur, so did Malaysia, and then came back and I was like, I really like that. I've always wanted to go and live abroad somewhere sunny. And my original plan was Spain when I was younger, but obviously we left the EU.
Yeah.
So when I got back later that year, I went and did 3 months in Spain. I was like, right, let me go and test Spain out. So I got a custom made camper van, got a Starlink on the roof, went through Spain for 3 months. But obviously you've got to come back 'cause the Schengen zone, it's the visas, etc.
Hmm.
But again, the only issue with Spain, great weather, but during the winter, you're waking up in the dark, you're doing
Yeah.
work, you finish it when it's dark. Although it's a beautiful country and I'm conversational now in Spanish, which helps a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but then I was like, I miss Asia. So literally I got back, I think it was the 19th of December. I drove my camper van because I'd already sold my house because I knew I was going abroad. So I sort of drove my camper van up to my mum's house from drove from the south of Spain to the north of England in 3 days. So Spain one day, France one day, England the next day. I was done in.
Yeah.
Messaged my friend, one of my best friends, Nikki from university, and was like, do you want to go to Thailand for a bit? She's like, yeah. So she asked the boss, can I work remotely? Can I go down remotely? Yeah, great. So we went to Thailand for 9 weeks. And my reason for going was we would go to three different places because I was testing where I was going to move to live.
Yeah.
Did that and was like, yeah, I'm going to live here. So I was like, quite funny because I rang my mum because I felt really bad because it's like I'm very close to my family. I don't have my own family because I never want kids. Like
Yeah.
in a nice way, I don't want kids. I don't want to look after anything else other than me. I'll have a wife, just not a child. Um, but I rang her because I'm very close to my family. I do loads of stuff with them and whatever. I'll take my niece and nephews out all the time and everything, and I'm always there whenever needed. So I was kind of ringing. I was like, I feel like I'm neglecting everyone by moving away. And she was like, you've got one life. You're playing right away. Go and do it. And I was like, right, I've got that seal of approval. I sound like a child. Like my mom said I can go. But but yeah, so I moved and it's been the best thing I've done. I
Yeah.
absolutely love the people say about the time zones all the time, like, oh, time zone not bad. I was like, I work a permanent 210 shift.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad. I think I was in England, I wouldn't really like that shift. Maybe I would because it's dark, but yeah, I absolutely love it because you get the sunlight in the morning, go and do
Yeah.
whatever else, and you just stay in that routine.
You can see it though. It oozes off you the fact that you're loving the life out there, and I think a lot. I think it's an inspiration to a lot of people because you know a lot of people what they do is they get involved in running their own business, and then it's very tunnel vision. And
Yeah,
there's almost this stereotypical way that you need to work. As a business owner, particularly if you've got staff, you want to be a lot of the time the first person in there, the last person to leave. You want to have, and there's always this, it's almost this kind of like stereotypical ideology of how you should run a business. And
yeah,
actually, what you're doing is you're pushing the barriers out there because you're saying, well, my team work remotely. They can work wherever they want to in the world as long as they work these particular shifts. That's absolutely fine. You can do that. You can run the business, and you're showing that it's actually really very possible to be able to do that. And I think it's quite inspirational without blowing too
it,
much smoke up your backside. But that's how I feel.
yeah. Thank you. I don't take compliments well, but you know what? I don't. The only thing I see it as is you just shifting the time. You
Yeah,
just still work the same. And the main thing for me is that you wake up in the morning, you straight away. Like for me, what I didn't realize, like, I've got an overactive brain. I have to take so much magnesium and stuff at night just to stop thinking and fall asleep. Like, because
yeah,
I'm just like, oh, what, blah, blah, blah. Since I come here, that brain space in the morning when you're not thinking about client emails straight away. Because
yeah,
I wake up at between 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I'll go to bed at 11:30, 12 because of the time zone. I go on, relax, do whatever else. And I'm just in that routine now. I used to
yeah,
be a very early bird and get up at 6 a.m., but now it's switched a bit. But that them few hours in the morning where you don't think about it, I don't set an alarm because I just wake up naturally 7 to 8, get up, shower, go for a walk, go get my breakfast, go to gym, and then do whatever I want. I can go for a walk down the beach. I can go to the sea or do whatever I want to do.
mm,
That brain space is incredible. But it's good to have the
mm,
brain space before you've worked all day and you feel knackered in the evening and you've used your
mm,
brain all day.
yeah.
Once you get,
It
sorry,
makes
go on.
sense. It just makes sense. It's that kind of like you say, it gives you that opportunity to switch off. It gives you that opportunity to collect your thoughts and do what you need to do. But I think the way we're so conditioned in this country is get up in the morning, start work, be at your desk by 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, be there, maybe have some lunch at 1 o'clock, then maybe finish at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, whenever you finish. And by the end of it, like you say, you're knackered in the evening. And one of the things that I've started doing a lot more of for my own sort of mental health, I suppose, is doing more sport and doing things that I want to do. When we moved down here from the southeast, we moved down to Cornwall because we wanted a life outside of the typical run of the mill. Now, my
That's what my brother
wife's
did. Yeah,
yeah, with my wife, so she was a teacher for 25 years. She now does three different things. She does jewelry, she does Reiki, and she also does crystals. And it's all about crystal healing is the kind of thing that she's doing. And obviously the Reiki side of things is about healing as well. But she runs jewelry courses and she makes jewelry for people and everything. She will be in the bath till 11 o'clock in the morning. You know, she's a night owl. She will happily work into the evening. I mean, last night. as an example, she got into bed at 20 to 1. I was dead to the world. I've been dead to the world for hours. But she did a load of her SEO and got a load of her SEO done last night. And she likes that. She likes the house quiet and everything else. So she just shifts her working pattern around what she does. And
Yeah,
that's kind of the way she is. I'm a little bit more conditioned to working during the working day.
because of the
But
customers.
yeah, it's exactly speaking to people and doing stuff like this, for example. But I think it's that's what works. So what I wanted to touch on as well was evolution of your business. So
Yeah,
so I'm a big believer that if your business stands still, it'll end up going backwards, right? And
yeah.
I genuinely believe that's what happens. And if you look at how businesses generally evolve, they change over a period of time. So when you started out in 2012 on your own, 24 years old, ready to take on the world and everything else, what what was your idea, and how quickly did your idea evolve into going in a different direction?
Well, my idea was, yeah, to do marketing for businesses. And that's because that's what I'd done at university and started doing for other people. I knew I could do it well. Um, and that kind of, yeah, so 2012 was when I started like freelance. Um, and then took on someone in 2013 who was also marketing. And 2014 is when I took on my friend. So that's when it kind of pivoted. So we started doing marketing, got our first customers and stuff. So we got our first customers through people I knew. And the company I worked for, they still took me on a retainer because they knew I was good at what I did. One of their um, one of their I don't know how to call it now. One of their partners up in Scotland took me on as well because they knew that's what I wanted to. That's what I was good at what I did, and I understood the product.
Hmm.
So they flew me up to Scotland. I did all the work for them and stuff as well. But then she started getting customers through networking. It was then when I was 2014 because I started realizing like marketing's not the same because you could do the marketing, but if you've not got control over the website, you could be sending people to crap.
Hmm.
So it's like, right, the website is the main thing. And if you're doing really good marketing, there's two things that come after that is you send them to a website, you're getting their contact information. So the website and the messaging on a website and then their sales process as well. Because that's one thing that most people don't take into account is how bad is that customer at selling. You
Yeah,
could send them all the leads in the world and they won't follow them up. It's not
yeah,
your fault. So we were
yeah.
like, right, how can we control more of that process? We go, right, let's do the website design. So we started doing website design. We then got to a point where we started working a lot with a software and app development company. And it became that natural that we ended up merging because I had the sales and the marketing side that they didn't have, which
Hmm.
most small businesses don't have because they're very good at what they do, whether it's coding, whether it's building, whether it's anything to do like that. They're not good at selling
Yeah,
or marketing themselves. So we ended up doing that. So we got into more of that. And that's where I started learning more about the in-depth marketing, the product development, product design, and stuff like that. And that's where it was interested, like, right, we actually should, we want our own, something of our own. So then it developed into that. So we did the custom development work for some big companies across the board. We did a lot of stuff for small and big companies, anything from Blackpool Pleasure Beach to Sea Life Centres through to small one-man bands. Um, and then that's when I was like, I want to create our own product, which is the website builder. So we built the website builder, fully funded it myself on the side, and then we were running them side by side. And this is where kind of like one of the biggest decisions I made, which could have went either way,
hmm,
but luckily it turned out well, is that we're doing both the agency and we still have some old legacy customers now that we still help. The two. We don't take any more projects. We do that because we work really well with them. We've got the team there and we like them. We want to see them succeed. We don't
yeah,
take any other custom projects on. Um, but we got to a point where I was getting dragged into because I was the product development and sales side of things. I was getting dragged into these big custom development projects, and it was taking time off looking at right, Pagio, the website building platform, needs the focus. And that was funny enough, it was 2022 when we introduced the free just before we introduced the free service.
hmm,
So we looked at it and was like, my time's getting taken with this. And we just won a contract that was worth just shy of £300,000 for development.
Yeah.
And I was like, if we accept this, it means that the shift for the next 18 months, I'm not going to grow Pagio to where I want it to be. So I kind of like have a discussion of like, right, where do we want to be as a business? I need to make that decision now. And that's when I decided to reject that, which is when you
Wow.
look at the time, it's just like, oh, what the hell are you doing? That's disgusting. And I felt sick when I replied. I rang them up and explained first, but then I sent an email over as well. But when I explained to them on the phone, I was like, look, it's not what I want to do. It's just we're going in this direction. And then when I put that down, when I sent the email, when that sent it, just made some noise. I was just like, have I fucked up? And I kind of went into a mini panic mode. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what if? It's like, what if? But that then we leave that side of things to go, right, focus on a website building platform. In the next 2 weeks is when we come up with a free offer. Because what was happening was we were just a do it yourself, come on our platform and build your own website. And what we found was that um, you can start up a creator account and build a website now. Still the same now, and you don't have to pay anything until you push the website live. So you only start paying for hosting when the website's ready to go live and you connect your domain and want it to show live.
Yeah.
People don't have design skill or they don't know what they're doing. So they come back in, they've got an hour a week because people don't have time. They don't have the money to pay, money to give to an agency to build it. And then they don't know about design or what to put on their content. So we were looking at it to go, right, there was a couple of things we were solving. It's like, right, a couple of the websites these people are building aren't great. They don't look good. How can we solve that? And for us, it's about adding value. How can we add the value on that design side? How can we get people paying us quicker? You've got to be selfish. We're a business. How
Mhm.
do you make money? How can we, instead of that person building a website over a 2 month period, 3 month period, even a 5 day period, how can we get them paying us quicker? And then how do we get them to stay with us for longer? And that's results. So two of those are value, and one of them is selfishly revenue and profit.
Mhm.
That one solution fixed all three. And we did a
Right.
pilot scheme. We did a bit of paid advertising, and it cost us £63. No, no, sorry, I'm getting confused. So before we did that, sorry, we used to do paid advertising. It used to cost us £63 to get a customer to sign up and subscribe to
Mhm.
build their own website. So we did that offer and we did a bit of paid advertising and got 100 sites. So we set up those 100 sites and realized how long it took us to set those sites up. And we were like, this is very viable. We can break even in 3 or 4 months if we build it for them. What happens is that they pay us to start the design. We do the design in 2 weeks, so the website goes live, and they get a better performing website.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that's made our business go, woof. It was steadily growing, not at the rate I wanted it to grow at. And then as soon as we introduced that service and it got out there, it just flew because we were relieving that pain. So that's the pivot that took us off. We're the only website
Mm.
builder in the world who does it. So that's where we differentiate, and that's where it's kind of rooted to like we're slowly moving through to get to this point of going, oh, we got the platform. Oh, actually, how do we get more people? We offer the free service, and then we get asked the question all the time: how do you make money? You're only getting £19 a month, and I was like, well, we're software, it's volume, but
Yeah.
also we build a website for them. They stay with us for longer.
Mhm. Yeah. It's an incredible model that you've got because you like you say it's not expensive. For 20 quid plus VAT a month, you get a fully built website. And when you think about it, a lot of web developers out there are charging a few £1,000s for a website,
Yeah,
and yet you can have a website for 240 quid a year, including VAT. That's a lot of years worth of website that's going to continually evolve and everything else that you would
yeah,
pay compared to a normal somebody who's doing a WordPress site, for example. So it is an incredible offering. The thing I love about your story there is that line in the sand, turning down a £300,000 contract because actually having the knowledge that this isn't the direction that you want to go in. You want to go over here, not over here, and actually having the bollocks to be able to do that. It's I don't know many people that would turn down a 300k contract to do that.
no, it made me feel sick. The other thing though, as well, is there was also a point like around that time is when we had to realize that there was some staff that weren't right for us as well. And they were
Mhm.
two horrible decisions I made was like, you're not the right members of staff, also we can't take on these projects, otherwise we can't go where we want to go.
Mm.
And when I sent that email, I felt horror. I couldn't eat, and I love food. I was like, I just felt dead weird. You only got that horrible feeling in your stomach,
Yeah,
like
sinking
something's
feeling,
wrong.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
Mm.
like trying to eat, and you're like, I don't feel like eating. I've got to go and do whatever else. And luckily for me, it was same day I played football, so I went and played seven aside, played football, and went to pub after with a few of the guys just to like relieve it. But then in the back of my
Yeah.
mind, I knew it was there when I got home. But it was a nice,
Yeah.
as you said, the sport, the fitness, whatever else, something to have that breakaway helps.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It massively does.
it
It
was a
has such a huge
horrible
impact. Yeah.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's really interesting though, and a lot of the things that you've touched upon there. I don't know if the people watching this will have noticed, but a lot of the things you've touched upon there, you touch upon numbers a lot. And another big thing for me is knowing your numbers, and you
I'm a
mentioned earlier
numbers
on that you're a
nerd.
numbers nerd, yeah, and I love that because actually, I think it's so important to govern the business by numbers, and if you know what you're doing. So I would assume, and I'm not asking for you to give detail here, but I would assume you know how long people stay on average, you know average order value, you
Average
know
value.
all of those sorts of things, you know probably what your conversion rates look like, and everything else, because they're so critical in actually running a business. And it's like you said, you knew it was 4 months and you were going to hit break even at 4 months if you carried on the rate that you were going at. Perfect, because actually you then have that, and then it gives you that measure and that target to go on. And I think
Yeah,
this is something, it's such a crucial thing that so many people don't recognize. They don't know what their numbers are within their business. And it doesn't matter whether you're a business turning over 10 million quid or whether you're a business turning over £100,000. You do need to know what your numbers are.
the, the most important thing I say to everyone is that what's your average value of a customer?
Yeah.
Because then you know what you can spend to get that customer.
Hmm.
Like some people, like for us as well, like we don't do any paid advertising at the moment. We're going to start doing it because we're going to employ a new graphic designer and then fill their space with that. But at the moment, ours is all word of mouth referrals, and we do really well. But we know that our average value of a customer. So before I used to say like we used to spend £63 to get a new customer to sign up. Now we don't spend technically anything. We only do like network and a few other bits, and then obviously the word of mouth. But we know that we've got a certain amount of money to spend
Hmm.
to then be able to move forward with that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's makes perfect sense. So yeah, instead of us breaking even at 3 or 4 months, it could be 5, 6 months or whatever else. But we know, as you said, how long a customer stays with us. And we're a SaaS business, so the numbers change consistently.
Hmm.
But what we've found every year is that our average value of a customer is going up. People are staying with us longer because we've only got data from 2020. We haven't got 50 years of data. We've got
Hmm.
literally, we just turned 6 years old last month. We've got
Hmm.
6 years of data. That's invaluable. And what you said before about the conversion rates. So I was never really good at the conversion rate stuff, like tracking it all until we started working with the sales company we work with now since 2019. But we used to track everything like average value of customer, all the other stuff, and it was like, right, where are these people coming from? So every customer gets asked where they come from. We know if it's from a certain person, how we know that certain person. Did they originally come through networking? Which networking was it? Did it come through our website? If they came from our website, was it social media? Which platforms? So we know and we look back and go, right, all this has come through. So for each person, and there's a few layers that we track as well. So we look at, right, what's the conversion rates of people who came from X? What's the conversion rates of people who came from the certain person who referred on? So, for example, I say BNI. So I've got to think it's BNI, but then also who in BNI, only,
Yeah.
who and only. Even like the sales company work with like anyone in there that's come on our website, the conversions from that, what type of website setup? Because obviously we do a free setup or free redesign. So it's like, right, did you have a website? Did you not? So we know if people convert more if they've not got a website or already got one. And that I think that's it. There might be another thing in there that I'm completely forgetting, but we know the rates on each one of those. So we're just like, right, actually, oh, the people that are coming to us with this, those ones who want a redesign, we actually get more people who want a redesign and a brand new website that don't have one.
Hmm.
We know that they spend more, they stay with us longer. Because you think about this, a business that's getting a redesign is probably one that's doing all right and is going to be in business a lot longer. Whereas someone who's getting a fresh new website might be a brand new business. And as you know, a lot of small businesses fail in the first year. We're quite lucky because our churn rate is 1.18%.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really good for software. So software is usually on average between 3 and 10%. I think, on a churn rate for decent software. Um, E-commerce shop website builders are horrendous
Mm,
because people, and that's why we don't do it either. People will create a website thinking they can go and sell their handmade bags online. They don't get any visits to the website in 3 months apart from the mum, the nan, and the sister
mm,
because they don't know how to market the business and they think they can compete on SEO with Debenhams.
mhm.
And then they'll just cancel a subscription and say, "Oh, the website was crap." Well, no, it's the website wasn't crap. You've not fed anyone there. You've
Yeah.
not marketed it. But that's why we'll never touch e-commerce either. I
Mhm.
know a guy called Anthony. He used to run EKM, which is a website building platform based out of Preston. They launched in Lancashire. He saw that a couple of years ago. He did an amazing job, and he's brilliant. Still speak to him now. He's given me loads of advice over the years. But speaking to him about it, it resonated with me why we didn't do the e-commerce stuff because
Mm,
all that stuff can happen. And I see it all the time. I have people
mm.
saying, "Oh, I need to build a website. I need an online shop." And I'm like, just go Shopify, build it yourself, but you need to make sure you market it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really fascinating hearing you talk about the numbers and everything else like that because it's not just knowing numbers within your own business, it's also you know your numbers within your industry as well, which is quite unusual, if I'm honest. It's a real good thing, but it's
It's
quite
a bit
unusual.
easy for me because software has a lot of numbers online, which helps a lot. And so like that Chimmy, because there's a lot of businesses out there. Say for example, like we have a client and she does safeguarding training. She's not going to know the average value of safeguard trade or the churn rate of whatever else or how many times someone comes back because you've just got to measure that yourself. Whereas we're quite lucky because we're software and we can look across the industry. But
Mm.
yeah, we are because I'm a numbers I look at all that stuff. Some of our staff won't know it as much in detail as I do, but we're open with all the stuff about numbers and everything else. But I know that's the key. Whereas some other people, it's a bit harder to do, but you at least should know your average value per customer and your
Oh
conversion
yeah,
rate.
absolutely. Yeah,
Because you know,
I
and
say, yeah,
if you've got average value of customer and it's a grand, let's just say average value of customer a grand, your conversion rate's 30%. You know that every 10 leads you get in, you're making 3 grand.
yeah, I know. It's the most they are those they are the most fundamental numbers that people should know. They really are.
Following up,
Yeah.
following up. Oh my God. We used to do it. Oh, when we run the agency, there's nothing more infuriating than a member of staff, usually sales. To be fair, we were all right because we had a guy in sales when we used to have it, and he was good at following up. He just wasn't great at converting. I
Yeah.
just don't think he had that side. He was great on the analytical side, but not the conversion side. So it wasn't the right type, like personality type. But some of the other staff, it was like, oh, tried, try getting in touch with the customer. They haven't replied in like a week. And I'm like, do you see that thing on the desk? And they're
With
like,
buttons on
what? And
it.
I'm like, that. And he goes, yeah, no, that phone. I went, yeah, pick it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
pick it up. I was like, they've probably seen your email and go, I'll reply later. They've seen your email going, oh, yeah, I'm busy. I'm in a meeting. Ring them. If they don't answer, they've seen that missed call, and usually you will tap and ring it back.
Yeah.
That 2 minute conversation saves you a week of chasing.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
But people don't do it. They're scared of picking up the phone. And
Yeah.
what our sales
Fascinating.
coaches kind of changed my mindset as well is that you mentioned it before. When you're in small business, you don't want to you don't want to come across as a salesperson. You
Yeah.
don't want to come across as pushy. But what you've got to realize is that if you truly believe that you're helping someone, you're not selling, you're serving. So you're
Yeah.
ringing them up because you know you can help them.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Hmm.
And unless your product's really crap and you know selling sand on the beach, do you know what I mean? It's if you know you're generally good at what you do and you're helping that person, just ring them because most of the time they just forgot to come back to you and they'll go, "Oh, I was meaning to get back to you. Yeah, I need to go ahead with it." Great. And if they say no, that's great. You'll never have to email them again. It saves you time in the future.
Yeah.
Don't take a no as a bad thing.
No. There are so many things that you've said there that I want to reiterate. So I say exactly the same. This thing here on your desk, it's really
Yeah.
good because when you type a specific section of numbers, specific sequence of numbers into it, and then you listen, you get a voice at the end that you can talk to somebody on, and it's really clever. And then I also say the other thing
And
that I
that
say
person
to
wants to
people,
give you money.
yeah, that's right. And I say the same as well. With sales, the mindset of sales, you're not selling, you're serving. And when people get that, it's really funny when I'm doing the sales training with people. When people get that, you see the light bulb above their head almost appear and go, I've never looked at it like that. And sales is such a mindset thing. And then my youngest, he's got his own business. He's 25, and he does he's got a commercial finance business, and he loves a no, because in his mind a no is
You
closer
don't have
to
to waste. You don't have to waste any more time.
exactly. You don't have to waste any more time on
But
it, but it's close to a, he's one
yeah,
close to a yes is the way he
and
looks at it.
if you know your conversion rates, on average, 1 in 25 say yeah across the board, randomly, whatever. That's the main
Yeah,
number anyway. But if your conversion rate is 20%, you're closer to one of those two in the next 10.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's
Yeah,
the way that's the way his mindset works. And I think it's really, really, really important. Mate, this has been amazing. I've got one last question I need to ask you, right?
go on.
And this is I like to ask this question at the end of these podcasts that I do with people. So, what is the one piece of advice you'd give your fledgling entrepreneur self 14 years on?
Jesus. Um, do you know what? It sounds really weird, but I don't think I would change anything because I don't live in regret. I feel like everything's a lesson. But the one bit of advice I would give myself, it's probably the same advice I give to other people. Be really fucking good at one thing and make sure everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
Like we built our we I'm not going to say the word. We built a very simple to use website builder.
Uh,
I won't say what we call it internally, because it's offensive, but a very simple website builder for a reason so people can edit it. So we know we've made a really easy to use product for small micro businesses. It's not
yeah.
for bigger corporates, but for us, it's telling people exactly what we do. And I think I've said that before. Like we call it the perfect intro. In one sentence, tell someone exactly what you do and who for.
Yeah.
And if you can, tell them the price.
Yeah.
We help small businesses get a professional website for only £19 a month. What do you
Yeah.
need to know? And they go, how'd you do that? It starts the conversation we're in.
Yeah.
And that's it, being very specific. And that is the one bit of advice. And obviously the networking and referral partners. We
Mm.
Our referral partners, we've got a great network of them at the moment now. We get so much, like a few websites a day from referral partners consistent. And
Mhm.
obviously you've sent us over some as well, which is
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously always
Absolutely.
appreciated. Yeah, yeah.
No, no, it's that whole thing. I think when you build a relationship with somebody who you know they're absolutely shit hot at what they do, it makes life easy. And you are probably the easiest referral I've ever found, because for 20 quid a month you can get a website and people look at you and go, "You shitting me?" No, no, it's true. It's really true.
The
And
funny
he's a
thing
good
is
guy
when
as well.
the funny thing is when people come to us, there's been quite a few that kind of they come to us and they go, "Yeah, I'll get the website for 20 quid a month." And then when I send it to them, they go, "Oh, it's an actual website." And I was like, "What were you expecting?" And they were like, "I just like a stepping stone website until I can afford a proper one." And they were like, "This is better than the one I paid 2 grand for last time." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I know that if I make you a good website in 6 months when you save up your money, you're not going to go somewhere else. You're going to keep paying us £19 for as long as
Yeah,
you want it."
yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Absolutely does. It absolutely does. Mate, this has been a joy, an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. What I do, as normal, at the end of all of these things, I put the links on, so you can contact Dan if you want to, and have it. But definitely, if you are thinking about a website, it's certainly a conversation worth having, because Dan knows his onions. But Dan, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, and thanks for having me. No, it's been fun as well. So yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Well, you take care. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thank you.